Hey, welcome back. Today I want to talk about something that might shift the way you see manifestation forever. We often think of manifesting as this extra thing we are supposed to do on top of everything we are already doing in a stressful life, like scripting, affirmations, visualization, vision boards, trying really, really hard to stay positive. And the truth I really want to learn with you today is you are already manifesting your life. Your brain and your nervous system are manifesting all day, every day, whether you're trying or not. So in this video, I really want to walk you through how that actually works in your brain and in your nervous system, and why so many of us end up manifesting more of the same old patterns, especially when we are living in a state of chronic stress and low self-worth. Let's start at the beginning. Manifestation isn't about thinking positive or asking the universe for what you want really, really, really strong until you're blue in the face. It's at a very simple level, it's about where your attention goes, what your brain rehearses over and over again, and what your nervous system believes is safe and familiar. Your brain is constantly wiring and rewiring itself based on repetition. Every time you think a thought, feel a feeling, or react in a certain way, you're walking a little path in your brain. And if you do that often enough, that path becomes a motorway. It gets easier and easier for your mind and your body to go down that route automatically. And that's manifestation in action. So if your repeated inner story sounds like, I'm not good enough, nothing ever works out for me, I always mess things up, I don't deserve anything good in life, then that is what your brain and nervous system are quietly organizing your life around. And it's not because there's something wrong with you, it's not because you're unlucky, it's not because you're doing anything wrong, it's just because that's what you've been practicing over and over again. Let's imagine the neural pathway is like a footpath we are creating by walking over a field covered with 1 meter of snow. So the first time you wanna cross that field, it's gonna take a little bit of time. It's gonna take effort, right? But if you walk a few times over the footprints you've already created, what happens? It gets easier. You don't really need to think about it so much. And your feet just knows where to go. It doesn't take that much effort, and you don't need to think about it that much. That's exactly how the brain works. A thought repeated becomes a pathway. A reaction repeated becomes a pathway. A belief rehearsed becomes a pathway. You see the picture? Now, what happens if you decide, I don't want to keep thinking that way? You can absolutely create a new path. But in the beginning, that new path is going to be harder to walk. It will feel unnatural, unfamiliar, and maybe even fake. Maybe you're lying to yourself. But if we don't keep walking the new path, if you don't give it consistency, repetition, and confidence, then the brain will default back to the old and the familiar track. And that's what people mean when they say manifestation requires discipline. It's not discipline as forcing yourself, it's discipline as being consistent. Here is a painful bit that so many of us recognize. Most of our early wiring in our brain, so those first deep footpaths, were not created in a consciously manifesting, empowered way. But they were created out of shame, fear, trying to stay safe, and trying to be loved. And also the majority of those connections were created between 0 and 7 years old. So they're really, really deeply rooted and many, many times totally unconscious. So maybe you've learned when you were younger that you need to achieve, you need to be successful in order to be worthy. Or you're not supposed to show your emotions because you're just too much. Or you're not allowed to have needs. Or if you don't behave that way, then you won't be loved. These beliefs sit in your default mode network. So that's a part of your brain that tells the story of who you are. And it also lives in your nervous system, in the way your body reacts when you think about going after what you want. So even when you're saying at a conscious level, I want more money, I want a loving relationship, I deserve a loving relationship, I want a job that pays me well, I want to have, I don't know, something material. If the underlying pathway says, I don't deserve that, it's not safe for me to be seen, or don't be selfish, don't be arrogant, whatever the stories that you have in your unconscious, your brain and your nervous system will quietly steer you back toward what matches that story. And again, it's not because you're bad at manifesting, it's because your nervous system is trying to keep you consistent with what it knows. I want to very briefly introduce 3 key players in the brain that we'll come back to in other videos. Don't worry about remembering the names, just to give a bit more information to that video. We have the default mode network. It's like the inner storyteller. So it's a part of your brain that's active when you're daydreaming, when you're remembering the past or imagining the future, when you're replaying conversations in your head, and when you're talking to yourself or narrating who you are. And when you're balanced and your body feels safe, this network can help you imagine a new future and hold a beautiful vision for yourself. But when you're under chronic stress, your sympathetic nervous system is activated. And when those two teams up, the default mode network on your sympathetic nervous system, it becomes your inner critic. And it's very hard to manifest something loving from a mind that's constantly attacking you. I really well know that. We also have the silence network. I hope I said that okay. It's the what's important filter. So your brain is flooded with millions of bits of information every second. Actually, it's exactly, let me see, 6 to 10 million bits of information per second. So obviously it can't process everything consciously. Imagine. It can only process 50 bits of information per second. So that's about 99.9% that you can process consciously. So what this network does is that it's your brain's priority filter, and it decides for you what's important for you to pay attention to and what's not important and what you should ignore. And there's actually a really interesting study that was made about that is called the gorilla experiment. I will link the video below. That's quite a funny one to have a look at. Watch it and let me know what you see in it. So this network uses your subconscious beliefs and values. And again, these subconscious beliefs and values, the majority of them were shaped during your 0 to 7 years old. So if your system is wired by shame and danger, this salience network is going to highlight, again, criticism, possible rejection, and anything that proves that you are not good enough. And if over time you teach your brain, this new identity I'm calling in matters, then the salience network starts to flag those things as important instead. So that's how manifestation becomes easier. Your brain literally starts scanning for evidence that supports your new reality. And I also talk about that in another video that will link somewhere here. Yeah. The other network I wanted to mention is actually part of the salience network, and it's called the attention network. So it determines how we pay attention and whether or not to allow our attention to be distracted. So when stress is high and the sympathetic nervous system is activated, attention becomes jumpy and fragmented. It's hard to hold a vision, it's hard to stay with a practice, like that's why you can't really meditate. And it's hard to feel clear. That's when you go into overwhelm as well. When your body is more regulated, your attention can actually rest on this intention long enough for it to become a new pathway. So if you take only one thing away from this video, let it be this. The number one thing that gets in the way of you manifesting isn't that you're not positive enough. It's chronic stress. When your sympathetic nervous system is constantly on, when your body feels like it's in a never-ending emergency, the beautiful networks in your brain can't do their best work. The inner storyteller becomes harsh and fearful. The priority filter scans mainly for threats, and the spotlight of attention is jumpy. And then we blame ourselves. I'm just not consistent enough. There must be something wrong with me. I'm just bad at manifesting. I don't deserve it. It's just proof I don't deserve it. When actually your nervous system is just overwhelmed. That's why in my work, manifestation is never just about mindset. It's always about understanding what's happening in your brain, in your nervous system, in your body,